Globe TV, bringing the world to you.
Time this morning. A very good morning to you and welcome to Wake Up News live on Globe TV with me, Sandra BOAHEN. Now, coming up in the bulletin this morning, we have for you first year student reports to various SHS and TVET institutions following their placement under the computerized school selection and placement system of the Ghana Education Service. And also, the Lands and the Natural Resources Minister has announced that the prosecution in the Aisha Huang trial is resolute to secure a promising result to serve as a deterrent to people who abuse the Ghanaian laws. We have for you, Northern Region poultry farmers have pleaded with the government to establish soya beans processing plants in the region to process poultry feed. Also on politics, former President John Dramani Mahama will Thursday, March 2nd, 2023, launch his campaign in his bid to lead the National Democratic Congress as its flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. Lastly, we have for you, Electoral Commission has justified an attempt to make the Ghana card the sole identification document for voter registration ahead of the 2024 polls. Well, if you will stay with us in the next 30 minutes, we have for you the details of these stories and many more coming up to you on the Wake Up News, including sports. For your time with us this morning, let's start with education. Now, first year students started reporting to the various SHS and TVET institutions on Monday following their placement under the computerized school selection and placement system of the Ghana Education Service. Initially, the students were supposed to have reported on February 20, but due to the short notice after their placement, the GES extended the reporting date to February 27th to give parents and guardians enough time to prepare to send their children and wards to school. Globe TV
At various SHS,
some students are yet to report due to the delay.
On the second day of reporting, several students converged to go through their confirmation and the school's list and registration. Speaking to the headmaster of Krobo Community Day Senior High School, Mr. Bismarck Chung Tewia said out of the 233 students placed in the school, only 70 of them have since reported.
We are aware of the government directives that we should start the admissions on 20th of February, and we have complied to that. So it's about 10 days now that we started the admissions, and so far we were able to admit 206 students, and the number of students who have so far reported are 70 in number. And because our school is a day school, some of them are staying far away, so we are expecting them that very soon they will come.
Mr. Chum Terias revealed that all heads of senior high schools in the Bono East region together have developed a common prospectus for the students to ease the burden on them and their parents.
Designed this brochure, which was given to the students. And we have got the school rules and regulations in it, the prospectus to the headmasters of Bono East. We all met, and we have been given a common prospectus which we have to comply with it, and we have sent it to the Director General for approval.
In the Abrafri Senior High School, the headmaster, Mr. Simon Ampoma Entry, said although 150 students were placed in the school, only 60 students have reported. He also confirmed the development of the common prospectus among the senior high schools in the region.
For this year, 2023, we are expecting 150 students to be enrolled, but now about 60 of them have reported. We hope that by Friday all of them will arrive. The school is a day school. It looks like the students who have been enrolled here want to opt for other schools which are boarding. It looks as though these days day schools are not very attractive. That's the only challenge. The numbers that we want to admit, we are not getting them, but all the same, it's good. What we have got is not bad.
Mr. Simon Ampoma Entry, however, called on the government and stakeholders to help the school by upgrading it to a boarding status.
We need additional classrooms. Then we have to fight for boarding status to enable more students to be able to come here. Again, we need an ICT center, has to be established, library, and then science lab for next year. If these things are provided, it will attract more students to come to the school.
Some freshers also spoke to Globe TV News.
I came to this school on Monday. The school is very calm. The teachers are very respectful. The teachers always help us through some difficulties we get. I really like the surrounding, and if you choose this one in your choices, it won't be bad for you. You are actually going to pass and get a better grade in your results.
Because my first day in school, I learned so many things, and I'm so happy that the teachers took us through things that we are supposed to do and things that we are not supposed to do. And I can see that this school is full of discipline and studies are being taken so seriously. So I'm happy to be here.
We are still on education. A total of 492,437 students, representing 91% out of 538,399 candidates who qualified for placement, have as of 9:30 a.m. on Sunday, February 26, 2023, been successfully placed in their senior high and technical and vocational education and training TVET schools of choice. This is an improvement on the 372,721, that is 69%, which were placed through automatic placement a couple of days ago. The press secretary to the Education Minister, Mr. Felix A. Beidou, who disclosed this to the media on Sunday, explained that the 119,716 candidates were those who used the self-placement system for the selection of their choice of school. He was upset that the remaining 9% will surely go through the process so they could enroll in their choice of school. Now, away from that, the Chief of Staff, Madam Akosia Frema Osei Opare, has cut sword for the construction of a residential accommodation for doctors in the Ziabi community of the whole municipality. The project, a community-led initiative expected to enhance the quality of care at the clinic, won the support of the top government official who the people have adopted as a development leader.
The sword cutting was performed to mark this year's edition of the Avazole Festival. The Chief of Staff, who was the guest of honor at the Durbar, commended the united resolve to promote the community's image as a self-helping society. She said quality, accessible healthcare in the development of any society remained paramount to the government's comprehensive strategy to achieve an equitable, sustainable healthcare infrastructure in the country. Madam Osei Opare said the initiative thus resonates with the vision and that the project will be realized to complete the government's efforts.
Upon successful completion of Agenda 111 projects, all districts in Ghana will be in a position to boast of the provision of a healthcare infrastructure in line with government's commitment of ensuring universal healthcare to all citizens in the attainment of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 3. I would like to assure you of my sincerest commitment towards the successful completion of whatever we have started together in Ziavi. In doing so, I take careful note of the request tabled by the Paramount Chief, including the plan to construct a residential accommodation for healthcare staff. The idea to construct a facility such as this to serve Ziavi and its environs is commendable and complements government efforts towards ensuring equitable access to health care.
Also present at the celebration was the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yawolecha, and the Home Municipal Chief Executive, Divine Bosen, among other dignitaries. The Paramount Chief of the Ziavi Traditional Area, Togbega Koku Ayim, however, urged the government to complete the Ziavi and Foita Road to ensure the development of communities.
We are happy construction works have resumed on the Ziavi and Foita Road network. We are appealing to the government to ensure the contractor does not abandon the project, but should continue and complete it. The access road from Ho to Ziavi Jogbe is in a bad state. We want it reconstructed to join the Amfueta road. This would make traveling from Ho to Amfueta comfortable.
Now, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo has announced that the prosecution in the Aisha Huan trial is resolute to secure a promising result to serve as a deterrent to people who abuse the Ghanaian laws. Speaking to journalists in Accra, Abujinapo said the prosecution is pursuing the case relentlessly.
The Chinese Galamsey kingpin is being prosecuted by the state for sneaking into the country and engaging in illegal mining after she was earlier deported. According to the Lands Minister, the prosecution of Aisha Huan is being waged relentlessly and the state will hopefully secure a conviction. Mr. Jinapo said a total of 5 prosecuting witnesses have so far been called in the prosecution of Aisha Huan. According to him, another witness will be called on the next adjourned date.
The prosecution is going to call a 5th witness and at the next adjourned date, and that should tell you that the prosecution is being waged in a very spirited manner. Because as we said from the very beginning, we want to prosecute this matter with the vigor that it requires so that it will serve a clear signal both in the country and outside the country, and particularly the countries where we have most of the troubles when it comes to illegal small-scale mining. The Ghanaian law will be applied and applied to the letter. So be rest assured that the prosecution is being waged and being waged relentlessly. And we are hoping that when it's all said and done, we'll secure a conviction and therefore justice will be done.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, also assured that the protection of Ghana's lands and natural resources entrusted in the care of the ministry is intact, adding that the government, under the leadership of President Akufo-Addo, will continue to adopt and implement policies necessary for the effective protection, preservation, management, and utilization of the lands and natural resources of the country for the benefit of the Ghanaian people.
Protect our forest resources. Recognizance, prospecting, and/or exploration activities in forest reserves continue to be suspended, except in exceptional circumstances, and the harvesting, salvaging, trading, exporting, and importing of rosewood, as well as the issuance of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species and Wild Fauna and Flora, CITES permit for the export of rosewood, continue to be banned. The Forestry Commission, with the support of the Ghana Armed Forces, has cordoned off all forest reserves and wildlife protected areas to rid them of illegal mining and illegal logging. Last year, 212 suspects were arrested by the Rapid Response Team of the Forestry Commission for various forest and wildlife offenses.
Now, the chairman of Northern Region Poultry Farmers, George Dasa, has pleaded with the government to establish soya beans processing plants in the Northern Region to process poultry feed. According to him, soya beans are mainly produced in the North Region, and if the processing plant is established, it will reduce the price of poultry feed in the region and the country at large.
In Ghana, about 90% of soya beans are mainly produced in the northern part of the country and transported to the southern part for processing. Speaking to the chairman of the Northern Region Poultry Farmers, George Dasa, he noted that even though they produce soya beans, they buy poultry feed at higher prices. He therefore pleaded with the government to establish soya beans processing plants in Northern Region to process poultry feed.
The fact that we produce a lot of soya in the northern region here, if the machine is here or the plant is here to process it, definitely the price will go down for us. And when the prices of soya is down, then we then be thinking of the price of maize also coming down. And when that happens, look, we can produce for the ordinary Ghanaian to also be able to afford it.
The Savannah Agriculture Value Chain Development Project and SAPEP, in collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, have sought grants of $28,000 from the African Development Bank. The project is set to increase agricultural productivity and production. The project coordinator, Felix Dramani, has therefore assured the farmers that under the project, they will establish soya beans processing plant in the region.
They are very much related projects. As we speak, land development, SAPEP is done. We don't have resources. But this project is adding some more resources for more land development to be done. And that's why we said it is 8,000 hectares that is to be developed. 2,000 for rice, 3,000 for maize, and 3,000 for soya. 8,000 is just a drop in an ocean, but that is what is currently available. So we have to start with this. The successes will tell its own story.
Coming up, former President John Dramani Mahama will Thursday, March 2nd, 2023, launch his campaign in his bid to lead the National Democratic Congress as its flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. Also, election has justified an attempt to make the Ghana card a sole identification document for voter registration ahead of the 2024 polls. Well, do stay with us for more details. Welcome back. Now in politics, former President John Dramani Mahama will Thursday, March 2nd, 2023, launch his campaign in his bid to lead the National Democratic Congress as its flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. Mahama announced this in a post on social media on Tuesday, February 20, 28, 2023, the largest opposition party NDC opened nominations for presidential aspirants on February 22nd and closed it on February 24th. The former president is contesting the NDC flag bearership race with 3 other personalities, including former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufour, former Mayor of Kumasi, Kwadwo Bonso, and 43-year-old businessman based in the United Kingdom, Ernest Kobia. The John Mahama 2023 campaign launch dubbed Building Ghana We Want Together will be held at the City Auditorium at the University of Health and Allied Sciences in Ho in the Volta region, which is the stronghold of the NDC. Meanwhile, the party is expected to hold its presidential primaries on May 6, 2023. Now, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, has justified her commission's attempt to make the Ghana card the sole identification document for voter registration ahead of the 2024 polls. Briefing Parliament on the proposed constitutional instruments for the next general elections, Madam Jane Mensah said the constitutional instrument seeks to promote continuous registration of voters and will allow for an all-year-round registration of eligible voters at its district offices.
The draft constitutional instrument entitled Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2021 has sparked controversy, especially the section that sought to make the Ghana card the sole form of identification for eligible voters to get onto the National Register. According to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, under the new CI, anyone who turns 18 can easily walk onto any of the CE's district offices and register to vote. She said the main advantage of this is that potential voters can register anytime and any day, and eligible persons will be at liberty to do it at their leisure because it will be an all-year-round activity.
Mr. Speaker, with the NIA assurance that it will commence its card issuance in a matter of weeks, we encourage those who do not have the card to begin the process of acquiring the card to enable them register as voters. The NIA has its registration centers across the districts and the regional capitals, and therefore accessing their facilities will not be a challenge. Additionally, since the card is acquired at the age of 15, we encourage any Ghanaian who will turn 18 in 2023 and 2024 and who is interested in voting in the country's election to visit the nearest NIA registration center and register for the Ghana card to enable him or her also register as a voter when he or she becomes eligible.
The CE's chair believes the new CI will also reduce the pressure that registration centers and prevent minors and foreigners from voting and take away the grantor system.
Another significant feature of this draft constitutional instrument is the proposal to adopt the Ghana card as the sole source of identification for any person who wishes to register as a voter. This implies that the grantor system, which hitherto allowed a registered voter to vouch for the citizenship and age of prospective applicants, will no longer be relied upon as part of our registration.
Now, the Tamale High Court has said April 4, 2023 to commence the full trial of the case involving 3 formal officials of the Northern Development Authority and a private businessman. According to the High Court, it will continue hearing the case on the 5th and 6th of April as well. The court on Tuesday, during the case management conference, went through all the documents filed and mentioned in the witness statement as documents the prosecution intends to rely on. After the case management conference, counsel for the accused persons and the state prosecutors told the court they were satisfied with the process. Meanwhile, all 4 accused persons were present in court. The criminal prosecution of the 4 follows a directive by the office of the special prosecutor after investigating suspected corruption and corruption-related offences at the Northern Development Authority. This was about a contract awarded to a consultancy company, ANQS Consortium, under the Infrastructure for the Poverty Eradication Program. The complaint, which was filed by a private legal practitioner, Martin Pebu, accused the then Chief Executive Officer of the NDA, Sumaila Abdul Rahman, and two of his deputies, Stephen Yeru and Patrick Saidu, of procurement breaches. Now, the Member of Parliament for North Thong Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is also asking if the Special Prosecutor is aware that there is someone listed among the legion of political appointees at the Akufo-Addo presidency described as special assistants to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The MP is also asking why a special assistant at the Office of the Special Prosecutor is classified as a political appointee of the presidency, and while the said special assistant was being paid by the presidency, particularly when Parliament discovered last December that the Special Prosecutor Kisi Ajibin has not been paid for an incredible 16 months. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is, however, worried about how the development help protect the independence of the Office of Special Prosecutor. Now, the former Minority Chief Whip and a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, Mubarak Muntaka, has described as disrespectful the absence of the Health Minister to appear before the House over vaccine shortages in the country. According to the Asawase MP, the Minister Kweku Ajiman Menu must be subpoenaed for disrespecting the Health Committee of Parliament. Now we cross over to Nigeria after this break. Now let's cross over to Nigeria, where after fighting military rule, escaping into exile and being one of the founding members of the country's democracy in 1999, Mr. Tinubu has finally won presidential elections to lead the country as president. Mr. Tinubu now has the task of solving the problems, economic stagnation and growing insecurity around the country, from an Islamic insurgency in the northeast to a nationwide crisis of kidnapping for ransom and separatist attacks in the southeast. The 70-year-old veteran politician Bola Tinubu got 36% of the vote. Official results show his main rival Atiku Abubakar pulled 29%. and Labour's Peter Obi 25%. Their parties had earlier dismissed the poll as a fraud and demanded a rerun. Mr. Tinubu is one of Nigeria's richest politicians and based his campaign on his record of rebuilding the biggest city, Lagos, while he was governor. He was nevertheless defeated in the city by Mr. Obi, a relative newcomer who mobilized the support of many young people, especially in urban areas, shaking up the country's two-party system. Mr. Tinubu won most other states in his home region of the Southwest, where he is known as a political godfather. He campaigned for the presidency under the slogan, "It's my turn." This is what transpired in his home during the declaration of the final results by the INEC.
Perform my responsibility as the returning officer for the presidential election. I Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2023 presidential election held on the 25th of February 2023. The election was contested. The candidates received the following votes: Imumolen 794,726. That Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you.
Well, it's now time for the sports update.
It's the first day of the month of March. It's time for sports. My name is Vincent Forgor. Now, let me take you to the headlines of today's stories. We will bring you some Italian Serie A and also FA Cup action from Italy and England, respectively. Pep Guardiola, after his side won against Bristol City in the FA Cup, spoke to the media about the performance of his team. Also, today, English Premier League is back in action. Arsenal takes on Everton. Liverpool takes on Wolves. Now, in some local stories, the President of the Republic of Ghana has assured the family of the late Christian Achu of helping to give the son a befitting burial and also a funeral. We will also take a look at some midweek action of the Bet Power Premier League. Let's do the details of these stories after this break. All right, so thank you very much and welcome. Let's start with some action from the Italian Serie A and also the English FA Cup. Cremonese in the Serie A won against AS Roma 2-1. Juventus won 4-2 in the Turin derby against Torino. Also, Manchester City won 3-0 against Bristol City in the English FA Cup.
Incredible start to the derby, this fixture.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. 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 Globe TV, bringing the world to you.
Also, that was Manchester City defeating Bristol City. Now, after the game, Pep Guardiola, who happens to be the manager of Manchester City, spoke about the results of his club.
We resumed the game and we started really well. After all, we couldn't see they were better. We could not control the transitions, and we felt how dangerous are in the transitions. And Scott is a really good player, and the wingers as well. The second half was much better from the minute one. After it was a period for corners of some free kick and whatever that always are dangerous. But like the last games, we 1-0, everything is open. But today, fortunately, we could score the second.
Away from that, let's turn our attention to the English Premier League, and this one has something to do with the title race. Arsenal at Emirates at exactly 7:45 takes on Everton. Also, Liverpool at Anfield takes on Wolverhampton Wanderers. That game is exactly 8 p.m. Now, enough of the foreign stories. Let's take a look at some local stories. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has assured the family of the late Christian Echu that their son will be given a befitting burial and also funeral, as he admired the player the most whilst he was still on it.
There are times when it is not pleasant to be in this chair. Today is one of them. The young man that we're all mourning was an exceptional athlete, a gift to our nation. All those of us who are football fanatics, and I count myself as one, spend a lot of time admiring him and his exploits on the field. The news that came from Turkey as a result of this tragedy that occurred there was also a very tortuous experience for us, because initially we were made to understand that he was all right, and then came the concluding, defining news that indeed he had been called by the Almighty. It's a tragedy for his family, it's a tragedy for his community, and it's a tragedy for our country. I want to express to you, representatives of his family and of the sport
of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Away from that, let's take a look at some midweek action of the Bet Power Premier League. Asante Kotoko at exactly 3 p.m. today takes on Bichim United. Karela United also takes on Accra Lions. Also at the Theatre of Dreams, we have Kotoku Royals taking on Dreams FC. Bibiani Gold Stars versus Insurrection FC is at the Bibiani Dance Park. Adriana Stars against King Faisal is at the Nana Ajiman Bedu Stadium. Bekum Chelsea versus Samatex also will take place at the Golden City Park. Now, Legon Cities against Tamale City also coming off at the Elwak Sports Stadium. Now we take a look at Accra Great Olympics versus Hearts of Folk, 6 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium. Real Tamale United against Mediama SC, 6:45 at the Aliu Mama Sports Stadium. Well, that's it for sports this morning. My name is Vincent Forgor. Thank you very much for watching.
You're welcome back. Now let's take a recap of the top stories. First year student report to various SHS anti-vet institutions following their placement under the computerized school selection and the placement system of the Ghana Education Service. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister has announced that the prosecution in the Aisha Huan trial is resolute to secure a promising result to serve as a deterrent to people who abuse the Ghanaian laws. Well, that's all for you this morning. I am Sandra Edu Boahen. Coming up now is Yesino saying, do have a wonderful morning.